Right, I think I'm live. Let's do a quick check. Bear with me. Okay, yeah, Twitch is good to go. That's exciting. Is that audio working? Yeah, okay, nice. Twitch is good to go. Alright, YouTube. YouTube is also going. This is a strong start. Okay, let's check the audio there. Yep, audio's not good on YouTube. Kick was the last one, wasn't it? Why is this not working? Why is this not working? Settings. I'm not going to risk showing my stream key. Alright, we'll forget about Kick. I think Twitch and YouTube is probably good enough. Alright, well, I'm a few minutes early, but I don't suppose that's a big issue. The idea for today, in fact, before I start, I need to test my chat feature because it's supposed to be coming from both platforms, but you just never know. Alright, let's get a YouTube. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not, but I've got nothing to hide, so that's all good. Yes, okay, that's coming up good. Let's test this. Test the chat. Okay, has that come up in OBS? It has indeed. Is it too small? Maybe. There you go, that's better. Alright. I think I'm good. Mic's working well. Alright. So, this is my first live stream from my little home studio. I've got no idea what I'm doing from a streaming perspective. I've done a few DJing streams, but I've never done one speaking and doing sort of live production as I go. So a bit of patience would be good. At the moment, I'm talking to no one, which feels weird, but I know that I'm going to post this video so that people can watch it back. So hopefully when you're watching this back and you're like, why is he talking to no one? I'm talking to you because you're watching it now. So I'm going to be in FL Studio. I've got a few tracks on the go at the moment. So there's a Melodic Techno one that I'm doing myself. There is a Melodic Techno track that I'm working on with a local artist called Nadine B. And also, weirdly, I'm doing like a chilled melodic house, organic house track as well, which hopefully I'll get a chance to go through all three. And if I'm feeling inspired, I might even start a fresh one. We will see. I'm without some of my normal equipment, frustratingly, because as I said, I'm new to the streaming game, and as you can imagine, there is a lot of equipment that needs to be plugged in to my MacBook, and only 2 ports on my MacBook to take that. So I've got a USB-C port on the way. It's arriving on Friday from Amazon, but right now I'm having to make do with an old USB one that I've got, so I've had to lose some of my controllers. Most importantly, my MIDI keyboard, which you would imagine is pretty important, and it is. So I'm going to try and manage without. I think it's not so bad today because, like I said, I'm working on tracks that I've already started on. So the main melodies are already written in. It's more going to be looking at arrangement, mixing, mastering, that sort of stuff. So hopefully we don't need the keyboard because if I do, I'm going to have to start clicking them in with my mouse, which is which will take me back to when I first started. So yeah, that'll be fun. Bit of a background on me, I guess, before we kick in. My DJ producer name is Melodicr. I'm originally from Blackpool in the UK. I lived in Manchester then for a few years, and I'm now all the way over on the other side of the world in Sydney. I've been here for 7.5 years now. I started making music when, God knows, I think about 15, I think. And I'll admit, it was not good. And I'm sure my friends who I put through the pain of having to listen to that stuff back when I was doing it would agree. But nevertheless, I kept with it. And at the time, I was massively into trance music, specifically uplifting trance music, which is the sort of slightly more cinematic, melodic breakdowns. And then I got half decent at the sort of music side of it. And I've never had any lessons ever. I'm completely self-taught from a music point of view, from a production point of view, from mixing, mastering, completely self-taught. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I can teach you everything, because I can't. But I can teach you what I know or what I've learned, and that might be helpful for some of you. So yeah, I was producing uplifting trance for a while. Back when I was, back in Blackpool. I must have been maybe 19, 20 at the time. Released a few tracks, and that was all under my real name. And then it all sort of stopped, really. I felt quite limited in terms of the equipment that I had. Wasn't able to afford anything better, so kind of lost. Well, I didn't lose interest, but I lost a bit of what's the word? Inspiration, I guess you could say, and kind of packed it all in for a good few years. It was probably like a 5, 6, 7 years that I stopped doing it, and it was only when I was back in Sydney, and I had moved in with my wife, and we had an apartment where there was a tiny little sort of closed off little study room, I guess you could say. So I'd set up a little desk in there, got my gaming set up in there, and then suddenly had a thought about, well, I've got a bit of space here. I've got my own little sort of man cave. What if I got back into producing? And I did, and it was great. I honestly loved it. And my taste had changed, I guess, a little bit at that time. So I then went into producing the more sort of melodic techno style stuff. And it didn't feel right to be releasing that under the same name that I'd been doing the uplifting trance stuff, because there's a bit of a clash of genres there. But so then, yeah, I started releasing under the Melodicr alias. And it went pretty well. I've had a few tracks supported by David Guetta and a couple of other sort of international DJs, and yeah, when that happens, it's that stuff's crazy. Those sort of those moments just make it completely worth it. I've never made money from doing this. I don't do it for the money. I do it because I'm realizing recently I think I like creating. And I get a real buzz from people literally all around the world listening to something that I've sat in my little home studio and spent hours making, days in some cases. And yeah, it's just a good feeling. So that's the background. Yeah, I hope this all makes sense when people watch it rather than it being live, because like I said, I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm talking to no one currently. But I guess that's the nature of streaming. I think that's it for an introduction. I could talk you through my equipment, but like I said, most of it's not plugged in, so maybe I'll do a different stream next time talking about all the equipment I'm using. I am on my new camera though, which I'm pretty happy with. It looks pretty decent. For those wondering, it's a Sony ZV-E10, which my research told me was one of the better, if not best, options out there for content creation. So, and I must admit, it looks pretty damn good. I'm happy. So yeah, in the background we've got FL Studio, and at the moment the track loaded in there is one that I've just been working on myself. It literally started it the other night. I think what typically happens for me is whenever I feel like it, I'll just start a completely blank project, and for me, tracks tend to start with writing a melody, and I think that's because I've come from the sort of trance backgrounds. That was always the way, at least for me anyway, to make an uplifting trance track, because for those tracks it is the absolute most important thing. Let's see, I don't think I'm getting anyone tuning in yet, maybe not. So that's how I typically start, and then recently what I've been doing is I tend to do like melody first, like the sort of pad or strings or whatever, and then I'll figure out a bass line that goes with that, and then I start adding percussion elements, which I think is a pretty unusual way of doing it from what I've heard from other people who are in the sort of melodic techno scene, but it's what works for me. And then sometimes when I feel like the track could do with some vocals, I'll often find, or try and find, some that are in the right key, and that's essentially how this track that we're going to look at first started. So I'll talk you through it in a sec. I just want to make sure I've got the chat up on my phone here so I'm not missing anything. Just don't know how to find it. Let's have a look. But you're going to have to bear with me a little bit here. Okay. Let's come back to FL Studio. Let's go on here. Just want to make sure that the stream is functional. So bear with me. We will get to the music in a second, I promise you. I'm just trying to get fully set up, which for a first timer is pretty damn tricky. Okay, alright, I've got the stream live there. Okay, we're looking good. Alright, so, okay, I can see the chat. Perfect. Let's have a look then. So I'll talk you through how this started. So this one specifically, like I said, the first thing that occurred to me was I literally just opened up a blank project and added a, I think this is using, what are we on here? Oh yeah, so augmenting strings. So this is a really, really awesome, God, my words escape me. It's from the, come on Adam, think. It's a whole different pack. It'll come to me. We'll get it back. Anyway, it's a really cool string ensembler. So I started off by just playing around on the keyboard, and I think the first few notes I drew in were literally just the D and the G, and then the C and the F, and then I've added these other notes alongside it. So we'll take a listen quickly. I'm hoping you can hear that. Should be able to check OBS quickly. It seems to be working. So, and it's just a 4-bar loop as it currently stands. Sounds pretty nice. You can probably hear the trance background, I guess you could say. And then I think next I added was a bass line, which is a pretty simple one. That's a Serum. I'm pretty sure that's a Serum preset. Yeah, it is. Serum 2, which is awesome. Producer friends out there, if you haven't made the upgrade from Serum to Serum 2, I highly highly recommend it. In fact, do you know what? Why don't we just take a listen? So we can talk through different elements. This track is by no means arranged yet. I think that's important to say, because I've only just started it and I'm still sort of laying down ideas of different parts. So it's not very well structured at all. And I'm going to give away one of my biggest secrets here, I think. For vocals at the moment, I use a website called vocalfy.com, which some of you probably heard of, some of you may not have, but they are pretty decent. So you can search by genre, you can search by BPM, you can most importantly search by key, and they have some that are you can purchase and have exclusive rights to. They obviously are pretty expensive, but you can also purchase ones that are sort of non-exclusive, so they're still rarer than the vocals that people will find and see on Splice or the other sort of popular platforms, so not as well heard out there and less likely to be used by other producers, but they're not fully exclusive. What I tend to do is when I find one that I think will fit with the track, you can actually download a completely free sample. What you'll hear when I'm playing this is, obviously to ensure that people don't just steal that, there's a little bug that comes over it that says vocalfy.com. So I'm just putting it out there now so that when you hear it, you don't think I'm using cheap vocals. I obviously, when I fully decide that this is a track that I'm going to finish, and I definitely want these vocals in it, I will then go and purchase the full vocal pack. But I'm still in the sort of testing phase currently. Speaking of testing, I'm going to check my audio's coming through. Vocalfy.com. So I'm just putting that out. Okay, nice. It's working. I should stop testing and just believe myself. All right. So let's have a listen here. You deserve the whole world, and I'm in need of freedom. I want to love you perfectly, and for that I need healing. I'm not gone, just taking time to grow and fix my mind. I can't love you all the way till I'm revived. So yeah, sounding pretty good. I mean, that's very basic at the moment. I've literally got a kick, sub bass, a rolling bass. Why don't we just listen through all of these? So I'm not sure on that sort of triple hit at the start. Just testing it out. Sub bass, super simple. The rolling bass that's a pretty standard thing for melodic techno these days. This is like an accent on that. I don't know if that's coming through that well in the mix at the moment, so I might have to do some work on pulling that through, but I'll get to that eventually. And then there's a hi-hat. Super straightforward. I'm lazy and I like to use hat loops as well. That was more sort of a shaker really than anything else, but fits pretty well on the track. And then there is this sort of rolling synth as well. Which once we get to sort of layering the track and working out the arrangement, there'll be all sorts of automation options that we can do on that just to keep it interesting as the track goes through. And then there's just the vocals, which we've heard. So that's that part. The rest of it, this all still needs a bit of work. I quite like at the moment how this bit is dropping in. It's almost like we've got the first verse here, first sort of chorus, and then there's this sort of interlude, I guess, into the next verse. But have a listen, see what you think. Vocalfy.com definitely needs a bit more work just to keep that interesting there. We've still got heaps of elements to add here, so I'm not too concerned. Bear with me whilst I just grab a beer from my little fridge by my feet here. I'm gonna get the creative juices flowing. What's for you? Cheers. All right, where were we? So then I am testing. This is the most recent thing I did. A new sort of pad on top of the strings in this breakdown section here. So let's just listen to that. This is one thing I hadn't thought about. Might get some lag issues because of how much I've got going on my Mac. What can I close? What can I close? I can close that. I can close that. I can close that. So I'm just closing a load of apps just to help my Mac not burn out. I think that'll do. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Before this kicks in here, still very much testing this sort of next section out. This is like a melodic techno stab sound that I'm still unsure of. But the idea here is that that's obviously a pretty sort of slow, very trancey breakdown, to be fair. So at this point, I want to start building things back up again, just to build a bit of energy. And then we'll go into the sort of the pre-drop here. So I brought the rolling bass back in at this point. I might change that, but it does add a bit of energy to the sort of the breakdown attack. Yeah, it's not bad. I actually quite like those little stabs. They definitely need something else to keep interest. And then I might even add like I might even add a riser of some sort here, just to build a bit more tension. Anyway, from there we go into this sort of pre-drop section, which sort of builds a bit more tension. Very common in melodic techno. We'll sort of crescendo up to this point. It's going to sort of drop down again, and then we'll crescendo again into the kicking back to. At the moment, I think I've got it doing it twice, but have a listen, see what you think. Pretty happy with that at the moment. So just to go through what was going on there, we've got that stab sound on a sort of constant note, but then I'm adjusting the arpeggiator in Serum, the rate of it. So I can show you what's going on actually. Let's open it up. Where are we? It's the rave lead one I've called it. Yeah. So Serum 2, I will not profess to know exactly what everything is doing here, but one thing I did learn pretty quickly, because it's such a common feature in melodic techno, is the use of the ARP, which if I show you now, I'm on the wrong one. It should be FM stab. There we go. So watch this knob here, because that's what the automation is controlling. Well, that's just made me look silly. Am I on the wrong one here? Oh, I put it on the... I did. Please be this one. Alright, what's going on here? What is going on here? 02, number 3. I wonder... Oh, it's there. Supposed to be there. Supposed to be there. I don't understand why it's not showing it, but you can see the automation there. I just don't know why it's not showing it on the actual plugin itself. Very odd. Super strange. Am I getting myself all confused here? Alright, so that's it without any automation, which is here. Yeah, so I guess it's just not showing what the automation is doing within the plugin itself when the track's playing. God knows why, but that's something new I've learned. So you can see what's happening is just changing the rate of this arpeggiator is, yeah, you'll have heard that sound in a lot of melodic techno tracks. I'm almost certain of it. So we start super quick and then we slow it down. Again, just to sort of help build that tension and then drop and then bring it in again. So here it is again. The vocal file sting is almost perfectly positioned. Obviously that'll go once I've purchased the legit track, the legit vocal, sorry. Another interesting thing I did here was I've delayed the sort of crash sound by 1 beat. And look, you can listen to the difference. For me, it just helps that first kick come through and it just gives a bit of a boost to the power. So that's it with it there. And then this is where I currently have it. I don't know, let me know what you think. I think it sounds better there, but not a big deal, I can always change it. And then this is the new element that we add in at this main drop. I've called it the rave lead, but it's not really important. Just an interesting little groove, a gated effect on that, I guess you could say. And then we've also got on it a sidechain, just so that the kick's coming through still, and that's what gives it that sort of pumping effect. So probably the easiest of the side chaining plugins that I've used. There's literally just presets that you just click. I don't like having it in most cases on a full 100% mix. It almost sounds a bit too dramatic, the sort of the ducking effect. So I tend to sort of drop this down, depending on what instrument we're side chaining. So because we still want this lead to come through and not be completely dropped when the kick is hitting, that's why I pulled this down to around the sort of 75-80 mark. Yeah, and that's pretty much where we're at with this track. I haven't really done much more. I think this part here is pretty cool. We'll get to it in a sec, where I sort of just bring the percussion elements back in. Let's have a listen. Sounding pretty good. I actually quite like this one at the moment. It's kind of got a camel fat sort of anima style vibe to it, in my opinion. Can't really go too wrong if you're trying to sound like those guys. The other automation I've got going on here is pitch bending this rave lead, and you will have heard that. I like to do this, again, it's pretty common in melodic techno tracks. It just adds a bit more sort of tension and drama, I guess, to what would normally be just not boring, but it could get pretty repetitive if that lead was just left to run. Let's take a look and see if you can notice what it's doing. Yeah, what I might actually do is use that same pitch bending and rave lead, as I've called it, to build that riser into this section. But before I do that, I want to just check quickly that my Twitch is still live. It is. Let me just test the Twitch chat as well. Just want to make sure that comes through on OBS. Yeah, great. All right. Cool. Yeah, that's where I'm at currently with this track. It's got a bit of work to do. I wouldn't mind just adding a few more elements. Let's have a listen. Vocal flight. Just on my way to better. A better lover to exit. Wait for me. I feel like it needs like a bass note to come in there. We might even be able to add it in the pad. Let's try it. It's not subby enough. What I'm going to do is make a duplicate of that track. And then I'm going to take just the bass notes of that melody. Like that. And we're going to find a nice preset in Serum that's a bit more subby. So let's clone here. I'm so bad at naming as I go, so I'm going to do it now. So let's name that one the pad. This one can be, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, we're good. That can be the sub pad. I thought I deleted the notes from the original pad track, but then I forgot that we'd cloned it, so we're all good. So let's rename this as well. Sub pad. Alright. So I just need to pull this from here, paste into this one. And we'll have a look through. Let's have a look at some pad sounds. Not bassy enough. No, in fact, we're going to need to drag this down an octave. In fact, why don't I, instead of pad sounds, let's look at actual bass. Let's work our way through. That's an ARP for a start. No, it needs to be a constant. Don't mind that. I'd rather it have a bit more of a smooth introduction. See how it's like a bong at the start? So we can achieve that by just increasing the attack on the sound envelope. So if I just bring that up, see how it's more of a whoop, make it even longer. Why is the other one? The other notes weren't playing with the same envelope. I am still very much learning Serum 2. Interesting. Alright, well, we'll come back to that. Nope. Nope. Oh, that sounds pretty tasty. It's like a respace. Might be too much though. I think that's going to be too much. Well, let's see how it sounds. Before I even let that in, I'm going to bring the volume down. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Let's I think, yeah, no, okay, no, I've gone off it. Next. Nope. I don't think the bass ones are going to work. We need like a, do you know what? This feels like a job for Diva, which is one of my favorite plugins of all time. Okay, got some pretty decent presets. The dark progressive ones are pretty good, and we'll try something. Yeah, this isn't working. Apologies if you're hearing the spacebar taps as well, but like I said, I can't have my keyboard plugged in as well as my mic, camera, and everything else. So I'm having to use my keyboard, my actual physical keyboard, rather than the MIDI keyboard, which isn't great. Take it back down again. Still got too much bite, treble coming through. Okay. It's just going to take over the main pad though. I really just need like a subnote. Why don't I just put it on the actual sub? That's far too low. Okay, that could work. I'm just going to need to automate out the side chaining effect. So for that, I'm going to need a new automation, and I'm going to put it in here. And we'll go to the sub bass effects track, and then this is just the dry wet of the side chaining effect. So I'm going to automate that, create automation clip. I'm going to just chuck it right at the start of the track and put it the whole way through, because I think there's probably going to be other times when I want to do this. So it's on. We want it to switch off at that point, be off all through there, and I guess build back up to when the drop comes about there. Let's just listen. Focal point. Just on my way to better. A better level to exist. Wait for me. Nope. This is the problem I have a lot of the time. I know how I want it to sound. I can't get it there. And that's probably one of the most frustrating parts, is sometimes I really struggle to get ideas and sounds from my head into FL Studio, and that's probably just through lack of knowledge. In fact, it's almost definitely lack of knowledge. Had I gone to music school and music production school, then I probably would know all the shortcuts to doing that, but I don't, so we make do. Okay, let's look at some more. It's too much. We just need something subtle. That's pretty cool. Is it too low though? Let's give it a try. Wait for me. Sounds out of key. Why don't I just go G into F? That's probably easier. Yeah. I think I've overcomplicated this. Wait for me. Getting all sorts of lag here, but that's sounding better. It just needs its own FX track, so let's put it in a new channel, call that subpad. We'll turn that right down. This little knob here is the stereo widener or condenser, is that the right word? But this is, with it being sub bass, we want it to sort of cut right through the middle, so we'll turn it almost the right way down. Typically the only thing I have right the way centralized is the kick. Up from there it's typically the sub, and then bass notes slightly less, and then I like to have all of my sort of melodic elements, unless they're the main like vocals or the main lead that go straight down the middle. The rest of them I try and sort of push out to the side a little bit. And then this one at the top is showing you the left or right panning. Again, it's just a spacing technique, which just helps the track just sound a bit more professional, I guess is the right way of putting it. If we had everything just playing right down the middle, it would be a lot for the brain to process. So spacing things out and moving them either a little bit to the left or entirely to the left or vice versa just helps sort of leave that space for the more important elements to come through. First comment. Thanks, Ben. Brother Ben, back in the UK. Ben will probably remember the times when I was doing this when I was a lot younger. In fact, I'm pretty sure we did it together on. There was a PlayStation game. I think that's where my love for music production started. I can't remember the name of it. It was literally a PlayStation 1 game, and it came with just little blocks that you could move. It was something DJ, or I swear. It'll come to me. But that was nostalgic. Alright, so the subpad, we turn the volume down, we have put it slightly more down the middle. So then, let's just see how that's fitting in now. Wait for me. I think I need to adjust my audio output so it's not lagging so much. Let's just see if that's any better. Wait for me. It's better. Wait for me. Yeah, that's good. I just think maybe it's an octave too low. Let's pump it up one and see how that sounds. Wait for me. No. Wait for me. Alright, this is close. I think it just needs, like I was saying before, to just bring up the attack slightly so that it fades in rather than just hitting. So we'll just bring that up to maybe there. Let's see how that sounds. Wait for me. I think you can go further. I really want it to fade in. Wait for me. There we go. Wait for me. Yeah, nice. I think I can have it playing through this rolling bass bit as well. Once this sub bass comes in with the actual sort of sequence, then there's no need for this anymore. Let's just see how this sounds. Yeah, don't mind it. This part now here feels like it needs to start building, and I remembered before I think I've already tried to have a go at that riser, so let's just see if okay, so what I need to do now is create a new automation here. It's gonna bend the pitch of that rave lead slowly up so that it builds. So the easiest way of doing that is to just create a new one and go, oops, we'll just make that unique so that we're not adjusting them both at the same time. And we can basically take that from there. We just need it to start at the midway point, which I think is that. So let's paste that. The idea is there. I think it's clashing at the moment with the melody. So what I might do is also automate the cutoff of it so that it's sort of filtered in slowly. So let's come here and tools, create automation clip. So let's try this. So we want it to start at the very bottom, which means that basically all the frequencies are filtered out, and it's going to slowly let more and more frequencies through. Yeah, I'm liking that. In fact, what we can do at this point is drop it back down again. Also, before I forget, you heard how that was pumping again? I don't think we want that. So what I'm going to do is link the sidechain plugin from the rave lead to this one that we've done already for the sub bass. That'll make more sense in a minute. So here's the sidechain on that rave lead sound. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to link that to the automation we've already built, which is here. So now, oops, oh damn it, I did remove conflicts. We don't want that. I need to make sure this is still connected. No, come on Adam, think. That's the one. Okay, so now this one single automation is controlling the side chaining of those two elements, and I'll probably add more because I like to just have one sort of overall side chain control. Rookie error. I forgot to release the the cutoff on this rave lead, so that needs to be back up. I won't do it right there, I'll do it here. Good. So what's happening now is that rave lead is in the build up here is way too overpowering. So what I'm going to try is spacing it out based on the pad, I think. So what that entails is we'll take the pad channel here and I'm going to side chain it to the rave lead track, which will then allow me on the rave lead track to add a new effect, which is going to be track spacer here. And then I can come into the settings of track spacer and basically tell it to duck out frequencies when the pad is coming through. So we're going to use the pad to side chain this rave lead. So that means that well, the setting that I'm going to use is it pushes it out to the side. So let me show you. Here, we'll go mid-side rather than left and right. So what that means is, you'll see when I play in a sec, you're going to see the waveform of the pad in here, and when that's coming through, it's pushing that rave lead out to the side, like the far ends of what you can hear essentially, so that it's not clashing so much. second thoughts, I feel like that's it. Kind of the build-up loses its impact because it's sort of wobbling around all over the place. So that might not be the play. What I might do instead, might need a different element pushing it out. I'm going to try just not releasing so much of the cutoff. I'm also going to bring the side chain back in here. Yeah, I think that's better. I think that's better. I think it actually now no longer needs that track spacer active. Yeah, for those just joining, please ignore the the vocalfy.com sting. I'm just testing these vocals out at the moment. It's seeming, the more I'm working on this project, very, very likely that I'll end up using them. But at the moment, I'm still just using the free demo for these particular vocals. When I'm ready to buy them, I will. Oh, Toby's in as well. The goat. Maybe not, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where that is at the moment. I think we've made good progress there. We'll save that before anything crashes. What I might actually do is move over to a different project. And this is one that's a bit different actually. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. This one is very different to what I've been producing. A lot slower, a lot more relaxed. I think it would fall in the sort of melodic house category. But we'll have a playthrough. This one's pretty much ready to send to labels. The only reason I haven't yet is because hey, oh, Crofty's on the chat. Someone's asking for Luda G music. Unfortunately, FL Studios crashed. Bear with. Yeah, I'm only playing my own music today, mate. Apologies. We're doing a production session. Let's have a look. Right, FL Studios back, I think. Where were we? Crafty, what I would really like to know, however, is how goes. Oh, that's a private joke that no one else is going to get. So, nice one. Thanks for that, Crafty. I'm now going to have to explain it. This was back when I was relatively new in the production game and thought I was the bee's knees, and I really wasn't. So what I liked to do was critique producers who were highly successful and far better than I was, because it made me feel good. So at the time, Calvin Harris had released, I can't remember what it was called. Oh, what was the track called? But anyway, it was pretty simple, as was most electro house at the time. And so Ryan and I decided to try and remake it. And it was actually a pretty decent video in the end. Anyway, so this one is a bit different, like I said, a lot slower. I can't see what this guy's saying. Bro, I'm not going to play someone else's music. I'm in the middle of a session here. I appreciate you chatting and all, but I'll review it another time, I promise you. So this one's more of it like an organic house track, but I'll play it through, see what you think. Oh, I was saying, the reason this is pretty much ready to go to labels. The only reason it's not is because I have stolen vocals from another track that's already been released, and that basically is a copyright infringement. So I can't release it in its current form unless I was to get written confirmation from them. And given that this is from a band who have done well, I don't think they would bother. Let me just load up the track. Can't see what this guy's saying. Okay, here we go. Oh man, it's crashed again. No way. I think my MacBook's struggling. I should probably get a better PC for this. Okay, well, I guess we're not going to play that one then. Let's go into... This is an exciting project. So I actually have an event coming up soon. In fact, here's something I prepared earlier. Look at this. Wait for this. This better work. Bosh. Back to what we were doing. Crofty's made a comment there about getting resung. Yeah, I've thought about that, and there's other ways you can, because it would then be released as a cover, but it's a bloke's vocals, and I'm certainly not going to sing it. So unless you fancy it, mate, I'm I don't know. Well, if you know any male vocalists, that'd be pretty cool. All right, let's get back to what we're doing. So this is one of those 2 tracks that I'm working on with Nadine B. The reason this looks very different is because I'm working with stems here. The unfortunate thing is that Nadine is on a different DAW, so she's not on FL Studio, which doesn't make it impossible, but it makes it a lot trickier to collaborate on a track, because essentially every time we want to swap over, we have to export every single track as a waveform so that the other person can then load them in. Yeah, makes it a slower process, but we've done pretty well, to be fair. We've got the system nailed down. So all you're seeing here is the waveforms. You know, in the previous project we were in, there was you could see like the patterns, I suppose, for each different element. This one's just the waveforms, which yeah, it makes it a bit messier. So when I received this from Nadine, there was just all of these waveforms. I have then, you can basically see the things that I've added in, because they're the ones that aren't sitting consistently across the whole track. And there's a few other changes I've made here, like just some volume automation on that one. I've added a new sort of strings melody and choir in here. These are all from her original, and then there's like some leads that we'll get to in a second. But anyway, we'll play through. This isn't finished by any means, but here's where it's currently at. What is happening with that audio? Oh, my Mac's in meltdown. I'm going to close some programs here, because it's on old struggle bus. Okay, I need to figure this one out. Let's quit. Bear with me, everyone. Apologies for this. And this is what happens when you're on your first live stream, I guess. Things go wrong. I really need FL Studio to just work. Come on. Okay, let's just start with an empty one. That sounded more promising. Okay. My concern is that because there's so many different tracks playing, that it might be sending the RAM into catastrophe. Let's see if I can fix this. Let's turn this buffer length up. There you go. Easy as that. All right, let's listen through. Needs a bit more. Okay, this is not something I had planned for. I've got just so much going on. It's just I don't know how to get around this. We might have to just go back to the other project, which is a shame because I really wanted to show everyone what I was doing here, but I just don't think my Mac is capable, which is a real shame. Obviously because I'm streaming at the same time, it's trying to think about too much. Okay, well, let's just go back. Let's just work on this one that we were doing. I don't even know how long I've been live for here. What are we looking at? Where does it tell me? Oh geez, we've done over an hour already. Alright. FL Studio is crashing out on me. Which could, ladies and gents, mean the end of the stream. I'll try a couple more times, but it just does not want to work for me. Which is annoying because it was working fine before. I think maybe I have to get it. Okay. Alright, audio settings. Let's just give it a bit more of a buffer. Okay, it's coming through the solo. Yeah, okay. I've decided I don't like that. At the start, that unnecessary like triple kick. So let's just put a standard kick there. And given this is the start of the track, one of the automations that I was talking about before on this rolling synth is reverb. So let's just push it right out through some reverb. So where's the rolling synth here? We'll go the Pro R. Let's do medium one. How's this sound? God awful is the answer to that. Maybe it just needs to be a larger one. I think it's too much of a bassy element to be doing that. It needs to be no, it's not working. I don't like it. I don't like it. This is what happens. You test things out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and that's fine. Okay, let's get back to this. Oh, you guys not hearing this? No way. No way. Okay. Fix this, Adam. Fix this, Adam. Bear with me. Okay. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Give me a second there. Add audio input. Does that? No, it doesn't want to work for me. Okay, it's alright. That was just one idea. Hold on. Let's try Mac audio capture. Studio audio. sound check from someone. I think that's coming through. I think. Should be. Okay. Interesting. It's working great. Awesome. Thank you, mate. When it's happened, people use a plugin for that. Don't know the name of it. Or you switch your audio interface to basic. Yeah, look, I mean, I thought this is the first time I've done a studio stream, so I've got a lot to learn here. I'll have to figure it out for next. I think what happened was when FL Studio crashed, OBS lost the audio source connection and didn't remake it when I restarted FL Studio. Anyway, it's working now, so we'll get back to it. So this bit's just the intro that you have to sort of add to club tunes so that they can be mixed in and out. It's important to try and keep it interesting as well though, but it doesn't have to be too interesting. This is where my arrangement's falling down at the moment. I basically need something to take us from the intro of the track into the start of this first verse, which sounds like this. Again, for those just joining, you will hear the vocalfy.com stings on. This is just the demo of the vocal that I'm working with at the moment until I'm sure that I'm going to use it. I obviously won't release the track with that on. But yeah, just flagging that. So yeah, I'm stuck on this bit at the moment. It's just very sudden currently, and yeah, it's just the strings basically. I think what I might do is actually keep some of these elements in, and I can add a filter to the kick. I don't know how this will sound, but let's just have a listen. Yeah, so the problem I've got now is the bass line here isn't following the bass of the pad or the strings. I do have a version of the bass line that does follow it, but I kind of wanted to keep that for this next part because it's like a nice sort of surprise when it comes in there, which means that I'm not going to be able to have the bass as well as the strings there. Let's see how it sounds without it. I don't mind that, the sort of slow fade in of the percussion there. That is too soon, it needs to be on that beat. Oh, maybe I don't delay that one. needs like a... Why don't I add that stab sound in? Dun, dun, dun. Let's try it here. Let's add a new. Dun, dun, dun. I don't have my MIDI keyboard plugged in currently because I've got too many other peripherals going into my... Only 2 USB sockets on my Mac, so I'm going to have to write these in. So let's do that. Dun, dun, dun. It's like here. Oh, wait, that's got the arpeggiator on it. There we go. Might just make these two a bit shorter. That can go a bit longer. Alright, so where did I want that again? It's just not on the right note. What are we on? G. Add it to G. An octave too high. Damn it. Nice. Have I just remade? Have I remade a sound I've already got? I actually have. Great. Well, that's just great. Well, we'll have that one instead. Yeah, perfect. See how it just fills that gap nicely where there's no vocals? It's perfectly positioned. I'll probably get another one in here, but let's just see. I could put another one there when there's another gap in the vocals, but it sounds when I try to play it in my own head, I reckon it would be too soon after this one. So what we can do is add a new element, maybe some percussion or something. Let me just see what comes to me when I'm listening to this. I feel like it could do it like a almost like a snare. Let me try something here. I'm sure I've got a snare here already. Okay. Pitched snares should be more common. Let's have a look here. No. Yeah, that's it. Be like here, I think, like that. Perfect. This might sound terrible, but let's just try it. It's probably going to need a load of effects on it, like a massive massive reverb or something, but let's just see. Sorry. I don't mind that, you know. Just needs a bit more volume on it, doesn't it? So what I'm going to have to do is clone that. Because I could add more volume to it, but because that's the normal snare I'm using in the rest of the track, it would bring up all those levels as well. So what I'm going to do instead is just call this FX snare. We'll give it its own mixer track, like so. And then we can pump the volume on that a bit more. Let me just move it alongside the other one. And let's actually put a bit of reverb on it, because I think that'll sound good. We want a nice big, huge clear plate. It sounds pretty damn good. Oh, hold on. Does that sound good or not? Crafty's come in with a question. How many audio channels is a typical Melodic track? Do you know what, mate? It differs vastly. It differs vastly. I've had some that are like 10, 15, and I've had others that are like closer to, I don't know, 40, 50. Weirdly, one of my more popular tracks is so, it's so simple, and it makes you think like simplicity is often key. You can overdo things massively. Interestingly, if I could go back and remake that track, which was funnily enough the first one that Greta picked up, I would do it so differently now, and it would probably have way more channels. But geez, I mean, it was good enough then, you know, to be picked up by an international artist. In fact, why don't we go and take a look at that? That might be a cool thing to do. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It wasn't the first one that's picked up by Greta, actually. Anyway, I'll show you what I mean if I can find it. These are all... Where's the legit file? This is a problem with version control, ladies and gents. I don't know which is the latest version. It's got to be that one. It's got to be this one. All right, let's try it. Hopefully this doesn't crash out FL Studio. Let's have a look. Come on. Come on, Matt, but you can do it. You can do it. Okay, that's not a major issue. I've updated my Ozone plugin, so it's just telling me to fix that. But it might not sound as well mastered here. But anyway, so this is Poisoned. And literally, we've got less than... If you take automations out, which are all here at the bottom, what's that, 15? And a lot of these are like single effects. If you're talking about, you know, like musical elements, there's really not a great deal. The beauty of this track though was in the vocals that I found, and so letting them come through without confusing them with too many other elements was probably a smart idea. But anyway. So all we've got going on there is a kick with a low pass filter on it, bass sort of slowly coming in, this sort of pad that gradually builds up with a massive cut off on it. These are just like vocal chops, and that's the intro. That's literally it. and the cut off on the kick drum and the sub bass comes in. Some random effects. I sort of tease a few of the main elements of the track in the intro here, but there's really not a great deal going on. And like I said, if I was to remake this track now, I would definitely do it differently. I'm just gonna go and put a hoodie on while this plays out. But yeah, mostly the vocals. We won't listen to the whole thing, but let's go to the main part at least, which is here. Oh, sorry. But it's so simple. It's so simple. Like that drop. Look, there's not even any effects. Apart from that. It's just the kick and the bass coming in. But it just works really well. I think the reason that track, at least in my mind, was pretty good was mostly this this sort of siren pad, I called it, because it was great that I built basically a single note. You'll see at the start here, it was just this single note sort of building and building and building. There'll be an automation for it here somewhere. Might be this one, where it just sort of gradually crescendos and then adds those extra notes, and then it just works really well in the breakdown as well. If you take a listen, just focus on this pad noise. But it just shows you that with only a few elements and a bit of automation, you know, you can make anything relatively interesting. Look, and I'm not professing that this track is is a world beater, but definitely one of my more popular ones anyway. I would show you an example of one that's got like 30-40 tracks on it, but I just think it's going to send FL Studio into meltdown, and it'll ruin the stream for everyone. So maybe another day when I can figure out how to get it functioning without crashing. So for now, I'm just going to go back to that track that I was working on. I have no idea how many people are watching here. I think there's like 3. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I've got nothing showing me. Have we got people on Twitch? I think there's people watching on Twitch. I've got no idea. If someone's watching on Twitch, could you tell me how many people are viewing? Don't worry if it's like 2. I don't care. I'm just intrigued. I'm just intrigued. Alright, where were we? I think we were working on this little bit here, this little interlude almost. Oh yeah, that was it. What do you think about that? I don't know. I'm undecided. Would it be better with a different snare, or different, maybe a clap? I'm gonna have a look here on some of my sample packs. Let's just see. Producer School sample packs, for those who don't have them, are pretty good. Let's try a clap. I think that could work. Wait. Needs a longer tail on it. It's better. Let's push it out to the sides a bit and lower that volume. What would be cool actually is if it panned from like left to right. The old panomatic. Switch that on. Let's turn up the amount so it's going right over. Speed's gonna have to be a bit quicker. That might work. Let's try it. I don't mind it, you know. I might like a little stutter before it or something. I actually quite like it now. I want to just see if this reverb sounds better. Let's chuck it out to the side. Take the low out. I want it to stay there for a while. No bass. Where's the reverb? Why is it? Give me more reverb, goddammit. It's better. There it is. Just gonna put it on the side. Okay. Alright, let's dial some of these back a little bit. Too much, too much. No, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. I think it's alright, it's just too in your face, too loud. It's making me think about maybe adding like a nice warm synth, like melody. Like a camel fat style, like let me see. Feels like a job for Diva, if I'm honest. Like a really gentle pluck. Too much. No. That could work. That could work. Where I'll start in this one. I've got no idea what I'm doing here. Maybe there? I think it needs to be here. And then it'll be the same. but on these notes. You see what I'm getting at? It's like a nice little bududun. It needs to be like a bududun. I think we might be onto something there. It's just I'm not convinced on this sound, so I'm going to try a few others. Certainly not that. Certainly not that. What is going on? What is going on? I can't remember what we were on. Was it even a lead? It was a pluck, wasn't it? Excuse me. The problem now is, and I often have this dilemma, am I letting my trance roots dictate what I'm putting in? Like, I often have to sit there and go, would this normally be in a melodic techno track, or am I still a small part of me trying to make trance music? Let's just see a second here. Where would it fit? Just a pre-warning here, this could sound awful. I don't know. I'm really undecided on this. Maybe Diva's not the one. Maybe Diva's not the one. What do we got here? Bit different. Bit more subtle. Mm. Sorry, one sec. Let's go back there. And that's where we're at. I think I'll probably call it a night, to be honest. It's 11:15 here in Sydney, so made pretty good progress. I will figure out how to get FL Studio working properly on streams for the next one. But yeah, thank you all for watching, whoever did and is still here. I think for a first one, it went alright. It went okay. We had some technical issues in the middle, but fought through in the end. It was good fun. It was good fun. I'll learn. The next ones will be better. We can start taking some more interesting requests. Actually build a track from scratch maybe on one of them. Hopefully next time I can get my actual keyboard and other peripherals plugged in so I can actually do stuff. That'd be useful. But yeah, I think it's time to call it there. So Quick reminder, anyone who is in Sydney and is still watching,